the warden comes in, and like everybody talks about this, and I didn't believe it. The warden comes in literally, and he sits there at his little desk, and he's like, hey, a lot of you guys aren't gonna make it, but there's only one way you guys are gonna make it. Got a Rambo knife like the size of my forearm, stabs in the table. He's like, hey, either get one of these and don't get caught with it, or go ahead and tell my officers that you need to go with them. I'm like, holy shit, all the stories they tell me about that is real.
Kit, welcome to Locked In, man. Here from Missouri. You might be our first Missouri resident. Might have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure you are.
That's awesome.
Yeah, came Kansas City. Shout out to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs.
Trying to get that dynasty, man.
And you're very fresh out of prison. You're still on probation now,
Yep.
or supervised release because you are a federal case.
Yeah.
And you got out 19 months ago.
Yep, November 1st of 2022.
Did you ever think you'd be sitting on a podcast sharing your story about prison and why you went?
No, man, like I told you earlier, it was when I left, it was MySpace. So coming out and seeing all this technology, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
How long was the trip to get out here? You took a plane?
Mm-hmm. We flew into New York and stayed up there and just did some touristy stuff and seen some things up there and walked 20 miles in 2 days. It was awesome.
You probably got some blisters on your feet.
Yeah, but it was I think it was like an hour and 20-minute drive out here or so, but not too bad.
And first time in the city?
Yeah, first time.
That's awesome. It's cool when guests that are fresh out of prison get to come out here and get to like make a little mini vacation out of it and explore.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I never thought I'd be in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to come back right away with New York. It's like a one and done type thing.
Oh,
it's kind of overhyped.
Yes, it is. But it was cool, first time experience, and it's a blessing, man.
Absolutely, and thank you for the incredible gift. You brought us a one of those pop items. I'll throw it up on the screen when I edit this. But it's a ho-ho. Which,
Yeah.
if you're in federal prison, you know how special those hostesses are.
Yes.
And they rotate every commissary.
Mm-hmm.
They always have that one of the week.
Yeah, one of the week, trying to get it.
Yeah, those are what is the best one? Is it the ho-hos?
It's different for different facilities you're at, but yeah, I would have to say the host is probably the best.
Mm-hmm. And then there's like the rare ones that only come out during the holidays that people kind of hold all year. Like the Christmas trees are good. Zebra cakes.
Zebra Christmas trees? Yes,
yeah.
love them.
What do you think was the worst one?
I would probably have to say, for me, oatmeal cream pies.
Oh, I love those.
Oh, man.
You know those are a hot commodity.
Yes. Dunkin' Sticks are the high commodity where we was at.
What is that, the Nutty
The
Butters?
Dunkin' Sticks, it's like the little donut stick with the glazed on it.
Oh, we didn't have those.
Oh, you see, different things for different facilities.
I know, unpopular opinion, but I wasn't a fan of the Nutty Butter. It
Oh,
was just
yeah.
too crunchy, but everyone loves it.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And like the Star Crunch, everybody wanted it, but they didn't
Those
have
are
it.
gross.
Oh, man. And then it's like, if a guy shows up from a different facility, he's got different stuff from their different commissary, and he's in there selling a honey bun for $10. I'm like, $10? Stamps. Like, man. But everybody's buying it like nothing.
I remember they had an overflow of Star Crunches at the camp, so they were they stopped selling the other ones, and they were mark those down like
Yeah.
something cheap to get all those.
Man.
Yeah, that and the chips. I posted, I don't know if you follow me on
Yeah.
Facebook, but I had those chips.
Uh-huh.
Those are a classic. That's going
Oh, the
viral.
whole shebang?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
going viral on Facebook. I was like, if you know, you know, and now everyone
Everybody.
can relate because that's strictly prison.
Strictly prison. And like, I see a lot of things that's like the skull candy earbuds.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen those.
Yeah,
And like,
I forgot about those.
yeah, and those are like the good headphones to have. And then like in my state, they have these CL20s. Like they're kind of like not like this, but they're clear. And I've seen those, and I'm like, man, those are like only things in prison. But the whole shebang chips, like, I don't know if you guys had the Cactus Annie, like hot spicy corn chips.
Yes, those. Oh, and what are they had the hot spicy ones, and then they had the regular ones.
Uh-huh.
But the hot spicy ones, those were a rare find.
Rare find.
Those were so good. They weren't at Fort Dix, but they were at the camp.
Yeah.
And they were at when I went to Chicago on layover. They were like, "Listen, you need to stock up on Oreos because those are a rare find. Bring a bunch of Oreos." and bring these chips and bring the shebangs and you'll make a killing. So I'm in transit and I was lucky I hit the commissary and I maxed out everything.
Yeah.
And I waited 2 months to get those back to me, but I made a killing off of them. You got to cut like 2 books of stamps for a pack of Oreos.
How was stamps where you guys were at? Like 20 stamps as a book?
Yeah, whatever a full book was, or is that 10 stamps?
So see, some camps charge are like 10 stamps or 20 stamps for a book. So it just depends. But like 20 stamps where we were at were $8.
Okay, so we were 10 stamps was $10, but if you buy bulk, it goes to $8. And then mackerels is $1 each, but if you buy bulk, they'll mark it down. Like you could buy 75 mackerels for $100 onto their thing. Because if you gamble, then it's actually worth $1. So if it's worth it, or if you're paying for haircuts, where you want to buy all these mackerels and they drop you off a big laundry bag, you leave it under your bed. And those Macs that are like so old, like the original Macs from probably like the 90s federal prison.
Just going around like money.
There's no fish left in it. It's literally all oil and disintegrated. And you open it up, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Where are you from? Missouri? Is that where you were born?
Born in Missouri, and we moved there when I moved to where I live now, like an hour from Kansas City when I was, I think, like 12 when my older brother got out of prison.
Oh, your older brother was in prison.
Kind of cliche for like the same crime, sells to an undercover, and then a drug deal gone bad.
Wow. How much older is he than you?
Like 7 years.
Okay, so you didn't really have that older brother figure growing up. So were you like an only child then growing up, or did you have other siblings?
No, I was kind of like an only child growing up and kind of went back and forth with mom and dad. And the reason why I wanted to move with my brother is because I knew what it was like at dad's house. He's kind of strict, older school, like, in if the street lights come on and eat your vegetables and just stuff I didn't want to do as a kid. At mom's house, I could ride my bike wherever. I could do whatever I wanted to do. But she was gay, and I kind of needed that male figure in my life, and I was getting to that age, and my brother got out of prison, and I just was like, this is what I need. And kind of for real, that was like my turning point in life, and that was the worst choice I could have made because he kind of taught me at that fork in the road, go right or go left, and he taught me everything to go left, and it led to my incarceration. Yeah, you make your own decisions and your own choices, but at the end of the day, like, I should have made a better choice to stay with my mom and just live with the parental advisory and not go with my brother. He was fresh out after doing 10 years, didn't have a clue of having a 12-year-old with him. I thought I was grown, and it just all started from there.
Did he do Fed time too?
No, it just all stayed in the state of Kansas.
Okay, the state of Kansas.
Yeah.
And so how old were you when you first realized what your brother did and why he was in prison and what prison even was?
So I used to always see my pictures, like walking out of my dad's house, he'd have pictures of him and my brother on visitation up there. And I was just like, Dad, what's that? And he would just tell, oh, it's like a workplace for my brother. Or, I was just so young. And then I finally realized, as I started riding my bike around, like, hey, how's your brother? He got out of prison yet? I'm like, he's not in prison. I thought he was like at a work camp or something, Dad said. And then I would just ask different people. And then my dad had a girlfriend, and she was like, oh, no, your brother's in prison. He sold drugs to a guy that snitched on him, an undercover. And I'm like, wow. And he's like, yeah, and he sold to him, and then caught the same case. Why he didn't know this one was pending, and drug deal gone bad, turned to a robbery. So he got sells to an undercover and a robbery charge. And I'm like, here I am, 35 now, looking back, I'm like, man, I followed right in them same footsteps,
It's crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah, you don't think about it when you're young, like you don't know, but when you're of age now and you look back, like, dang, how did I follow in them same footsteps?
I'm curious, when your parents were raising you, did they acknowledge that you had a brother like out in public, or did they kind of like push him to the side because he was in prison? Were they embarrassed by it?
So I don't really remember too much, but my dad, he's just an old biker guy, so he didn't really. He's always going to choose his kids over anything, so he didn't really, it was like, I wouldn't say it was swept under the rug, but it was just like not spoke about a lot when I was younger with my brother. And like my brother, like from 12 on, raised me, and I thought raised me as like a good male figure, but come to find out that's not what life's about. Is, you're not supposed to be 13 years old, learn how to weigh up ounces and quarter pounds and pounds of marijuana on a scale, And when you get older and you look back at it, you're just like, man, you could have gotten me in a better direction, but you have to take accountability for your own actions. I chose to get the knowledge and the information and run with it. You know, so when you go out the first day at 13 years old and you make $300, you're like, oh, wow, this is easy. You know what I'm saying? And then from your dad and your brother's friends, everybody else smoking weed, you don't even have to leave the house because everybody's just right there buying weed from you, you know? So, and then it just progresses and meet different people. And before you know it, don't have to do nothing. You can just sell the bricks to the other guys peddling and selling and make it easier for yourself.
Take a quick pause to talk about America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Now, let me tell you about my experience with HelloFresh. I first came across HelloFresh and the concept of meal kits delivered right to your door at my ex-girlfriend's house one day when her mom was so excited and literally waiting by the door for her HelloFresh meal kit to arrive. I was curious to find out what the hype was all about. And guys, I have to tell you, as soon as she opened the box, I realized how awesome HelloFresh is. Not only was it packed with fresh ingredients, but it had everything you needed to make the meal, including spices and a step-by-step recipe card. Speaking of recipes, HelloFresh has a constantly changing menu with over 50 recipes to choose from. And if you're like me, who goes to the grocery store and gets way too much than what I need, then HelloFresh is the perfect fit for you. They only send you the ingredients you're going to use for the meal you selected, saving you not only time, but money too. Which is exactly why I'm going to be spending less time at their grocery store and more time on my HelloFresh app planning my meal deliveries. HelloFresh is giving listeners of Locked In free breakfast for life by going to HelloFresh.com/freelocked. You can get one free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freelocked. Now let's get back into this episode with Will Kitarogers. Do you think that if you never went to live with your brother, you never would have ended up in prison, looking back on it?
I would like to say no, but I feel like it might have been a different reason I would have went to prison because, like, when I was with my mom and, like, you getting made fun of, oh, you got 2 moms. It wasn't openly acceptable back then, you know? So I was fighting all the time in school, just real angry at everything. And so it might have been a different charge, but I would have never known if I would have went to prison or not. But, I mean, I don't think so, but I'll never know.
No, you're something I've learned about you in the short time I've met you is you're very reflective and you have a lot to reflect on and you've definitely learned a lot. Did that hit you later on in your prison sentence? Did that come to you recently? Did that come to you in the beginning?
So it was later on in my prison sentence. I was at a death row camp in Potosi, Missouri. Got in trouble at a lower level, did 23 months in a SHU, single-man cell, got sent to Potosi for like a punishment, and they put me in the cell. I think I got like a little under 2 years before I go to the feds, finish up my time. They put me in the cell with a guy on death row, and I'm like, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got like maybe 6-7 years left. What am I doing in this? This guy don't got nothing to lose. So I'm sitting there. The guy at first, when he get in the cell, he don't really want to, he don't really talk too much. He's depressed. He's sad. He'd go to pill line, come back, go to sleep, and he's like, hey, kid, can you get some weed? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I go out to the yard, get a couple sacks, come back in. He's like, my hands won't let me roll it up. We roll it up. I'm like, yeah, sure, roll up a joint. He's like, you want to listen to the radio? Puts on the radio, listens to some Eminem, and starts smoking, and he just starts talking. This is the most he's talked the whole time. And I'm like, man, he's like, hey, kid. I'm like, what's up, buddy? He's like, man, I'm telling you, you don't want this for your life. I'm like, why you say that? He's like, bro, you know how long it's been since I've put my feet on carpet? He's like, you know how long it's been since I've opened a refrigerator? And now you're just sitting there, I'm high, you know, calm, collective, and I'm just like, man, I don't want this. I don't want to live in a concrete box with another man for the rest of my life. So as time progresses, I'm like, if I want change, only I can do it. I can't blame things on my brother. I can't blame things on my parents. I can't blame things on other people. If I want change, I have to accept responsibility and make the changes myself for my future. Only I can do it. Nobody else. So it's that death row inmate, and like a lot of people be like, oh, you don't want to listen to the old heads, but when you're faced with a man that has nothing to lose, he don't care if you listen to him or not. And he went to they move you to a different wing when you're time for your execution, but he had like a cancerous tumor on his lip. So with the stuff they used to execute you, it might have went with his medicine and not really executed him, so they gave him a stay of execution. But before this, he's like, hey, man, all my cellies always steal all my stuff because I think I'm going to go get killed and stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm not like that, bro. Like, I'm not. So I pack all of his property when they call him for his execution to move to the different wing. From 0 to 90 days, you move to the different wing. So when he moves down there, I pack all his stuff, put some extra tobacco in there. They had tobacco in the state back then. And then I put some extra coffee in there. He goes, I'm asking the SEALs, hey, what's up with Rusty? What's up with Rusty? They're like, oh, I don't know, can't talk about it. So I'm seeing it on the news now. Stay of execution, hopefully, for Rusty Buckaloo, waiting for the last time. You know how they do when the inmates get executed. So I'm at work in the kitchen one day, and I come back, and everybody's yelling, Kit, Kit, Kit. Usually they want me to get them ice, check the kiosk machine, or do something for them, and I'm trying to get in the shower and go lay down. I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning working. So I'm like, man, I know that voice. So I come out the next day, and here comes Rusty down the walkway. I'm like, dang, Rusty, what's up, bud? He's like, look, you seen a ghost, huh? And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of. I thought you were dead. But he's like, no, they can't kill me. Just ornery old man, you know? And he's like, Kid, guess what? I'm like, what, buddy? He's like, guess what I had this time? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, for my last meal, I had chicken fried steak. I had a banana split. I had mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm like, damn. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, Rusty, I got to go. I catch the window, go outside, work out. He comes outside, and he's like, hey, Kid. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, what do you think I should get this time? I'm like, what are you talking about, Rusty? He's like, what do you think I should get for my last meal this time? I'm like, I don't know. And I took off on him. And I'm walking the track by myself now, just like in deep thought, like, damn, all he has to look forward to is that last meal. So, like, Rusty was like the turning point in prison. And this was probably like 2016, 17, turning point in prison. When I first went, my first 2 years, I got cells 2 and undercover, got out for 13 days. My first 2 years, I took it as a joke. Getting high, hanging out with my so-called friends, dominoes, cards, doing nothing. Get out 13 days later, drug deal gone bad. They charged me like I robbed a bank, man. Interfering with commerce by threats or violence and brandishing a firearm in the commerce of a felony. Going to the house, dude tries to rob us with a gun. What do? Fight or flight. Punch dude, take the gun, leave. Co-defendant takes 1.5 pounds of marijuana, another gun. State picks up charges. Later, state drops him, feds pick him up. Sentenced to 144 months. So through this whole journey, I go back to the state, go and do my state time, finish that up. I'm in there still trying to, that's why I was in that SHU for, because I got introduction of narcotics to an institution. So I'm still trying to, young and dumb, still trying to make money, still think I'm smarter than everybody else, still think I got it all figured out, man. And come to find out, I didn't have nothing figured out. I was dumber than a box of rocks. I didn't know nothing until then I met Rusty, go through, and I start getting things back together. Rusty comes out one day, he's like, hey, kid, can you get some weed? I'm like, hey, buddy, I don't smoke no more. He's like, what? You don't smoke no more? I'm like, bro, I don't want this for the rest of my life. He's like, man, you did listen, didn't you? I'm like, yeah, bro, I got to start changing somewhere. So go through Potosi, leave Potosi, go to a lower level. Lo and behold, guess who's there? My brother. And I'm like, wow, okay. He's back in prison in his 40s, gun charge. Didn't get federal, just got state. And I'm like, that's when I realized I knew I grew up. And he's like, hey, what's up? You want to go do this? You want to go smoke? I'm like, bro, I don't even want to talk to you. Like, I'm still kind of angry at you because I feel like you're the reason. But really, you're not. So I go to finish out my little state time, go to the feds in transit. Oh, we got caught. Like, I left December of 2018. I got stuck in Oklahoma through the snowstorm, through Christmas, holiday. Worst thing ever, bro.
I was there, too, through the Christmas and holiday of what year was that?
We were there in 18. They sent us to Grady County, like a little place in Oklahoma. I guess they farmed some of the federal inmates out there.
I passed through there December 2017.
Yeah, we was there December of 18. And, like, they picked us up in Missouri, so they took us to another county jail for a couple days. Took us from there to Springfield for, like, a day. And then we drove from Springfield to Oklahoma, and I'm just, like, one of the vans we were in, like, it was like a dog kennel van, bro. Like, no windows, no nothing. You're just cuffed and shackled, and I'm just, like, his experiences was sucked. But we get, Grady County was cool, I guess. For what it was, people could order your commissary online, and so, like, they would just, like, send a bag of Jolly Ranchers throughout every other day. You know, you could video visit there, so that was the first time I got to see people. And, like, I haven't seen, it's not my twin brother, but I call him, like, my twin. We're 3 days apart. That's the first time I got to see my brother. Like, this is a different brother that we grew up together in the streets and stuff, you know, like my right-hand man. So that's the first time I got to see him in, like, probably 7 years. So he's out there doing good, man. Got a little girl, just living life to the best, man. Changed his life around. I was so proud for him, you know. And I'm glad I got to use that video visit because 2019 we come off a lockdown in USP McQueary, and I come down and see an email that he got killed on a motorcycle accident.
Your brother?
Yeah, that's what's tattooed right here, the Casey. And I'm like, what do you do, you know? And it's been 2 months already because we've been on lockdown. I can't check my emails. We're on lockdown. So it was just rough, bro. Like, I went through a lot of life-changing experiences in that journey at some of the worst places to do it at, you know? But what else can you do? So we go through transit, get to USP McQueary. Oh, let's talk about the plane ride. Like, this thing is, like, crazy, bro. Like, you get on this plane, and the marshals are, like, all out there, like Donald Trump's coming through you know what I'm saying? Like, he's coming through the airport, and, like, they're just lined up, AR-15s, assault rifles, everything. And I'm like, man. So we get on this plane, and I'm like, I see some female stuff, and I'm trying to, like, hey, I haven't seen no females in years, you know what I'm saying? So I'm talking, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? The marshal's just, keep it moving, keep it pushing. So we get there, sit down. I'm like, hey, marshal, I gotta use the bathroom. He's like, I don't care. Another one comes, like, hey, I gotta use the bathroom. The other guy's like, I told you, ask anybody again, you're gonna fucking get it. I'm like, all right, man. So I sit there, I'm like, another marshal comes, like, hey, marshal, I gotta use the bathroom. Other guy spazzes out. He puts me in the row, like on the airport, on the plane where it's like real scrunched in together. I'm 6'3", and I'm like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have asked again. So we sit there, ride the plane. Plane's like, when I say like Con Air don't got nothing on this, like this plane's got duct tape on the wing, like nothing but federal inmates cuffed and shackled up on a plane. Like, what happens if something happens to this plane? You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't good. So we get there, land, get on a bus, drive through BFE to Kentucky, bro, and Pine Knot, and we get there, and it's just like, it's an experience because I've witnessed state prison is soft compared to federals. I'll tell you that. Like, when you get to the feds, like, you go in there, dude's like, if your case is fucked up, if something's in your paperwork's wrong, you're a rat, you're a chomo, go to the left and see my officers. If not, go to the right, and then we'll see how many of you guys make it. So you go in there, get strip search, squat, cough, bend over, do all that stuff. And the warden comes in, and, like, everybody talks about this, and I didn't believe it. The warden comes in literally, and he sits there at his little desk, and he's like, hey, a lot of you guys aren't going to make it, but there's only one way you guys are going to make it. Got a Rambo knife, like, the size of my forearm, stabs in the table. He's like, hey, either get one of these and don't get caught with it, or go ahead and tell my officers that you need to go with them. I'm like, holy shit, all the stories they tell me about that is real. Like, I didn't believe it. So we go through, go out, receiving, walking down the walk. And, like, when you walk in the unit, bro, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you're walking in the front door. Everybody knows you're coming. The CO's done told, like, the white dudes, hey, you guys got 2 coming. The Mexicans, you guys got 2 coming. Hey, the DC blacks, you guys got 3 coming. Everybody knows the list before you come there. You can see with your last 3. They just now changed it to where it's 3 zeros at the end, so you can't see what state they're coming from. But when I went in, like, 045 is Missouri. So, like, 045, 044, we're looking for that. If you got that number, we're trying to see what's going on with you. When you walk in the door, there's just, like, a line of inmates, whites, blacks, Midwest, South, DC, Texas Mafia, like different. And so they're just going to find out, hey, where are you from? Because they're looking for any of their enemies or anything. The white dudes are going to snatch you up. Hey, you're white. All right, show you the ropes, do all the things. And I'm like, bro, I've been on a plane for like 12 hours. I just want to get to my cell and lay down. They're trying to show me this. Don't do this. I'm like, I'm not going to remember none of this. So I go to my cell. I got an old dude on there. He's a dirty white boy gang member. He's like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Missouri. He's like, all right, cool. You can stay here for a couple days till my bro gets out the hole. Then you got to find a different cell. I'm like, man, I just want to go to sleep. So I go to sleep, wake up, go to breakfast. Where I'm at, they didn't have a cafeteria at first till like my last few months. So you would just walk through the cafeteria, go through the line, get a styrofoam tray of your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dinner would be delivered to you on a cart. They didn't have the cafeteria because it was so violent. So they get my breakfast, and all the Missouri guys, they know we're coming. They're all waiting there. I know a couple guys from the state and stuff. And it's like, hey, you need anything? They come tell us come out for a rec, bring us our sweats, our shoes, our shorts, our stuff that we need, care package. And we go back in the unit, and the dude's like, hey, you guys got 30 days to get my paperwork. I'm like, my paperwork's already on the way, bro. I told my lawyer to have it meet me here. He's like, what, I'm like, bro, we don't, like, that's your driver's license and the feds. Like, we're not going to play the paperwork game. You got 30 days to get your paperwork when you get there. If not, like, they're going to look you up and figure it out on Pacer or something, and 9 out of 10 times, like where I was at, the COs are going to tell you, like, they'll come to whoever's got the unit for the white guys, the rep, and they'll be like, hey, you guys got one that's coming. So, he's either a rat or a chomo. So you figure out what you're going to do with it. Like, the police promote violence where we was at, like, for those type of people,
And what happens to those type of people?
Oh, they're not even going to make it into their cell. Like, unless that's really bad, they're going to let them make it to their cell, get situated, and then come out like, hey, come over to the table and show you. And they're going to either put a lock on a laundry loop and lock them up, or 2 guys are going to come with knives and stab them up until the police come.
Why do you think the correctional officers do this?
Because where I was at in Kentucky it's country-fed white dudes, and they don't like child molesters. And they don't like rats, and that's just, it's a game to them. They like to see the violence, and even if it's like, they'll read the case before and they'll see everything, bro, and they'll like, when something's about to go down in the wing, the tension, it's quiet, everybody's out the way. Especially as like you can ask anybody, the white dudes are notorious for the most dangerous and rowdiest in the feds when it comes to putting in work or violence, and it's sad to say, but it's what it is. Like, I just call it how I see it. The police will act like when they know something's about to go down, they'll go stand outside. All of them will stand outside and act like they didn't know what was going on so whatever can happen, And when you get there, like, your name goes, you're on the chopping block. Whatever, once your paperwork clears, whenever your number comes up to put in work, either you put in work or you become the work. So you and 2 other people, that's how that's how they tell the COs without telling them, or the police, somebody's bad for the yard. You send 2 on 1. So when you send 2 on 1, hey, he's no good for this yard. For whatever reason, it's none of your business, but he's no good for the yard. Being in the Missouri car, hey, kid, such and such did this. Okay, well, that's cool. Let's figure it out. Or he's running up a dope debt. Or, hey, this. Or, whatever the case may be, we'll try to figure it out. But if it's just, like, my work when it came in, like, some people, that's a feather in their hat to get a child molester, to get a rat, and you can't just say a person's a rat and you want to get them out of there because you don't like them. You got to produce the paperwork, or their paperwork will show, or whatever. You got to produce the evidence. You just can't. And if you say somebody's a rat and they're really not, you're going to become the work because you're spreading false rumors on somebody's name.
Have you ever seen a rat or a chomo actually fight back? And because there's some that are like hidden, where like they're actually some jack dudes, or they're tough, and they're not like the vulnerable white old guys that we hear about. What happens to those guys?
Most definitely, they'll try to make it and they'll fight back. But that's why, like, and if they're getting the best of the 2 dudes, another white dude will be around, 2 other white dudes will be around surrounding them, and if they're getting the best of them, they'll go right in and help, and then it becomes 3 or 4 on 1. But yeah, I've seen it happen too, like where the work beats up the workies.
And so if you don't comply as a new person, like, you can't stay neutral in a penitentiary, can you?
Oh, no, you're not. There's no neutral in the penitentiary, they'll call that man time. Some places have that. Where I was at, there's no man time. You're either like, you just say you went to the pen, you're from Connecticut, you're going to be in the Connecticut car. If there's nobody from the Connecticut car, say there's more New Yorkers there. You're going to ride with the Northeast car. New York, Boston, all that type of stuff up there. You're going to ride with that car. And that's your car. And like, so like when you're in the cell, like I would only cell with a Missouri guy because say Missouri in the Northeast car gets into it, but I live with the Northeast car. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep at night, even though me and him aren't, if my car and his car clash, I have no other choice but to ride with my car. So I would only cell with a guy from Missouri just because we're in the same car, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Now, say when there's a situation like that where there's an issue with one car, one member of the car, and then a member from another member of the car, how does that get settled? Because there's a process, right? There's like the politic aspect of it.
So say two people in a Missouri car have an issue.
With someone from another car.
Oh, so they'll come and they'll talk to the speaker for the Missouri car. The speaker for the Missouri car will go talk to the speaker for the Connecticut car. And they'll figure it out, get to the bottom of it. And if it's like something that's serious and the one guy's like, hey, no, I want to, either we're going to fight in the cell one-on-one or we're going to fight with weapons. And then you'll be patted down by one of my guys. You'll be patted down by one of their guys. And they'll figure it out. Make sure you have no weapons if you're fighting without weapons. And then you just figure it out. And then once it's fought and over with, whoever wins, loses, or draws, it's done. It's over with. No sneaking nobody in the day room. No sneaking nobody in the yard because you lost a fight. It's done. It's over with. And if you do that, it becomes worse and worse for you at that camp. It becomes worse for you at the next prison, because you didn't follow the rules.
And what happens if you make a move on someone in another car without getting it cleared by the speaker of the car?
So there's only like maybe one or two reasons why you can make a move without getting it cleared. If like, say you're standing in chow line, dude turns around and is like, calls you a bitch. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You right then and there, we'll deal with the consequences in the shoe or wherever else. Or if something disrespectful to you, that's the only way you can do something. But if not, like if it's just like you felt disrespected, not to the point of where somebody calling you the B word, but to the point of like he was talking down to you, you felt. You'll go speak to the speaker, and it's just they'll kind of figure it out, get to the bottom of it, and it could be a misconception. It might not what was really happening. But 9 out of 10 times, like the white independents will try to keep the peace amongst each other, because even though there's the white independents and there's the white gang members. Even though they're all white, there's still a sand drawn in that line, because the white gang members try to tell the white independents what to do. No, hey, we're our own people. You don't tell us what to do. You guys run by different politics than we do. You know what I'm saying? So you guys have bylaws to live by. We don't. We just make sure we're not a rat, chomo. And we, like, you might have different ones, like, hey, mandatory workouts, that's just for your mind, body, and soul. Or if a war happens, you're in a war zone, so it just depends on what car you're in and what different, I wouldn't say bylaws, but what different rules and regulations they have for that car.
Yeah, now describe the mandatory workouts, because that's in a lot of these gang-related prison movies. Like Shot Caller is a infamous one where you see all the guys working out together when they're in the hold together, and that was like a requirement, doing the burpees together. Did you see that in the penitentiary?
Oh, yeah, we do it like so. Now, not everybody in the Missouri car wants to work out, but it's more of a camaraderie thing. You'll come out there, you'll work out, you'll show unity amongst your car to the yard, and say you got a guy that's not really active on working out. He's going to come out there and he's going to stand security. He's going to come out there and he's going to run laps, 2 or 3 laps. He's going to walk laps. He's going to do some different things, and he's going to show his camaraderie to his car and show that, hey, I'm riding with my car no matter what. Even if I can't go out here and do 500 burpees or do whatever, I'm still going to show camaraderie for my car. But yeah, just a different guy will lead the workout a different day, and you'll be out there. You might only have a certain time to go outside, so you could be out there, and we were in the mountains, so we go out there and run laps in the morning, go out there and do 400 or 500 burpees in the afternoon, all different types, 3, 5, 7s, just whatever you wanted to do, we would do it, and like you'll have like a piston system. So if there's 6 guys of us, there's 3 lined up on this side, 3 lined up on this side. These 3 go, then these 3 go. These 3 had their back to the fence 9 out of 10 times because we're all watching each other's back. And there's always 2 guys walking, And like I came home now, when I'm with my wife and my daughter, like we're in the mall or something, I'll still do the same thing, bro. Like I'll be ahead of us or I'll be really behind us. Like, it's just always one of those things. It's a security issue to do, because when you're walking in a group with the Missouri car, they'll have somebody in front of you and somebody behind you, because if somebody's going to ambush you from the front, you can see it. If somebody's going to ambush you from the back, somebody's going to see it, because they're talking about whatever needs to be talked about amongst the car. So, and there's different people for that. There's a guy that's going to check paperwork. There's a guy that's going to be for the family, the camaraderie is what they call it. There's going to be a guy that's going to be security. Like, that's what they do. And even on the shower time, like, you could be in my car and I come in from the workout, and you come in from the workout and you're like, hey, I need to go get on the phone. I'm like, hey, I need to go get in the shower. You're going to come with me to the shower, and you're going to stand in front of the shower while I shower with your knife to make sure nobody gets in that shower. And then when I'm done, you're going to walk me to my cell, and then I'm going to get in my cell, and then you can go get on your phone or go do whatever. Like, the car comes before everything when you're in there. So it's almost ran like a gang, but it's not a gang. But you have to do it to survive.
Now, the cars have specific, like, jobs. I've noticed talking to a couple Fed guys where they'd have, like, one guy was in charge of holding the knives or moving the knives. One guy was the paperwork guy. One guy was, like, the money guy, the treasurer that would collect all the items for the new good guys that came on. Was that like that where you were?
Oh, most definitely was like that. And so at first, it was ran just normal, but I also got to experience COVID. I was locked down during COVID. So we came out 2 or 3 days a week. And, like, where I'm at, the white dudes, you're not working on lockdown. So if we're on, like, a disciplinary lockdown, no white dude is working. So, like, either I'm going to go to the shoe or I'm not going to work. But the police know that we're not working on lockdowns because we're not going to do your job. My fellow Missouri guys are behind these doors. I'm not going to go out here and work and get privileges when we're all locked down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do your job, pretty much. So, but yeah, most definitely you have a guy that's going to make the knives. And, like, that's I've seen some of the stuff I've never seen in my life. Like, you would take a pencil, one of them little pencil sharpeners, and you take the razor blade out of it and you cut. I don't know what those, like, black clip things are called that go on papers, that you can fold.
Paper. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know what they're called, but you can use those things, and you would just break that thing in half, and you just so they do a cell rotation every, I think, 90 days. The night before cell rotation, everybody stays up cutting their bunks, and you can hear it. You can, like, literally hear it, and then you move to the next cell, and the CO will be like, hey, it looks like there's a piece missing here, a piece missing here, a piece missing here. Okay, now that's your cell. And then when you move the next 9 days, you're going to cut a knife out of your bunk. And the next morning, you're going to take it to whoever needs to hold it. They're going to stash one on the yard. They're going to stash one over here. They're going to stash one here. These two guys are going to hold one because they stay in the TV area. This guy always walks the top walk, so he's going to hold one. And yeah, it's not nothing to brag about. It's not nothing to be cool, but you have to adapt to your environment no matter where you're at.
Is there a world where that's not needed? Do you ever think in these penitentiaries where you can go there and you don't need a knife, where it's kind of a safe place?
Oh, there's not a safe place. You never know what could happen, the drop of a dime. Especially I was there during the K2 era. Them guys were smoking that K2, and just, you never know what happened. Come out running, swinging on the police, talking about I see aliens, and you just never know what somebody's going through mentally and what type of person that they're going to be that day, At the drop of a dime. You got a lot of, just say, head dudes from where they're from all in one place. And then penitentiaries, a lot of the violent dudes where they're from, So they're sitting there playing spades, and this guy feels like he gets cheated when really he didn't. He just lost. So he just gets up and starts stabbing dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I seen a dude have words on the handball court the day before, and I was like, oh man, that's not going to be good. Next morning, get up, go down there. Everybody goes to the email, checks their email. I see dude walking around, walking laps, and you can tell by, like, he's got that look on his face, like he's plotting something or something's going on. So I'm like, I back up, put my back against the wall, and I'm just watching. And there's two computers right here. He taps a dude, and he's like, hey, you might want to get up and move. So dude gets up and move. He walks around again, comes back, and he just, like, hauls back with a master lock on a loop, and just beats dude to, like, life flight him out of there. All because they had words on a handball court over a game.
Wild.
Crazy, man.
So here's a question. If you stuck one of these individuals in, say, a camp, right? Like just a prison camp. Do you think the violence would still be the same, or is it the environment that's creating the violence? Like, would these individuals be fine on their own in a different environment, or is it these pens are fueling the violence?
These pens are fueling the violence just because they run a no-nonsense policy, whereas at the camps, like a lot of them guys will level down and they'll tell you, man, you don't want to go to a lower level just because they don't have the respect level, I guess you would say. Like my cell's right here, and this is the DC area where they watch their TV at. I can't walk through that area. I have to walk all the way around to get to my cell. So it's just like, I'm a social butterfly and I've been there for so years. Like I'm just a likable guy. So like the white dudes would get onto me like, hey, why are you walking through that area? Because I know the head of the DC dude. He said, it's fine. My cell's right there. I don't care. So I had to get into a lot of cell fights with the white dudes just because, like, why are you worried about what I'm doing? I'm not causing no problems. Worry about your own self. You know what I'm saying? And like in the pens, when you go, say you have to go up to the CO to talk to a CO about something like, hey, can you do this for me? Or hey, can you call up to medical and see this? Like, you can't go by yourself. You have to go 2 people up there. And it's like, some of the things made me think like, man, look, I was just facing 25 years and I didn't tell, but you think I'm gonna go up here and talk to a CO and try to get an extra sandwich or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, so like some of the rules I didn't like them, but I fought a lot of them. And then when there's high tension going on the yellow side or the blue side, like there's 2 different sides. If there's high tension going on the other side, we're gonna run 2 people everywhere. Like you're on double man. So if you're walking to chow hall, make sure you have somebody else with you going to the chow hall. If you're on the yard, make sure you have somebody else with you.
Are there a lot of hits randomly on different cars? Like, are you seeing in the penitentiary where it's just like a straight, like actual murders getting carried out? Or is it not so much in those penitentiaries where there's less gangs, like the Mexican Mafia or some of those like Aryan Nation and whatnot that you see more out on the West Coast?
Oh, so there was Aryan Brotherhood, Texas, where I was at. Nostra Familia, like I met 2 of the founding fathers of NF. Let me see, who else was up there? You got the Texas Mafia, and you got the other like Bloods and Crips and Latin Kings and GDs and folks and stuff like that. And it's not just random hits. It's like stuff could happen at another camp. Like, so say the Midwest blacks and the South blacks get into it at another camp. It could trickle down to our camp and they're going to get into it and they don't even know why. But no, it's not like just random hits. You know, it's stuff that's been maybe brewing from years or things that's going on. That's the reason why it's not just like, I felt like stabbing you today, so I'm going to stab you. No, like it's a reason why it happened. Like we had a guy that was in a Missouri car, try to get on gang time. He didn't make it on gang time. They didn't want him in the gang. Try to come back to the Missouri car. No, like you turned your back on us once. They don't want you. You already showed it at a time of distress. You're going to turn your back of us, or in a time of war, you're going to turn your back on us. So no. So we send 10 dudes. Yeah, he's one of the homies. He didn't really do nothing too bad, but you got to go on to the next place. So send 2 homies, beat him up, black his eye up, bloody him up, you know, till the police come. Send him to the next camp. Next camp will send word, hey, is this dude cool? Yeah, that's what happened. He's cool. He's fine to walk there. He's just not welcome here. Plain and simple.
So is there a difference between cars and gangs? Like, are they separate entities? Can a gang member be in a car, or the gang member has to be in a gang?
That gang member is that gang. Like, so if you're an Aryan Brotherhood, Texas, even though you're white, you're still a white gang member. So you got your white gang members, you got your white independents. Now, in the white independents, you got Missouri, Connecticut, California, Kansas, whatever. When the other guys come in, they're going to be, if you're a GD on the streets, you're going to be in the coalition car. GD, Vice Lords, the whole coalition. The Bloods and the Crips, like, people are like, that's so weird, because on the streets, they don't get along. In the feds, they're in the same car. Then you got, like, your Midwest blacks, your South blacks, your DC blacks, and then you'll have, like, I'm trying to think of, like, NF was the white sit here, the NF sit here, Mexican Mafia sit here, Texas Syndicate sit here, and then like they would have a table just for like neutral zone. So it's like, if I want to play a black guy in chess, we're going to go sit at the neutral zone because you can't come to my area, I can't come to your area. So we're going to go sit at the neutral zone and play.
So what happens if, say, you join the Missouri car, you're protected by them, everything's good, but then like a gang, a white gang, an Aryan Nation, the Brotherhood comes up to try to approach you and you decline them? Are you in danger, or is your car protecting you?
No, my car's protecting me because I declined them, but it's like usually 9 out of 10 times with the white politics and the gangs, like if you're into that lifestyle, like you're going to be a hang around with the Aryan Brotherhood, Texas or whatever. You're going to be a hang around, you know? So you're not just going to, that's what happened to that guy. You try to flop back and forth. And like if you're in the Missouri car and you're like, hey, I kind of just all of a sudden wanted to start being a gang member and doing this now, okay, that's fine. Like we're not going to oppose on you. Like you're still a white, good in the white community, but you hang out with them, you work out with them, you're protected by them, you're with them. But if they say, hey, you're not going to hang out with us no more, then you're not welcome back with us. So it's pretty much like a gang inside of a independent car, you know?
Now, these white, you know, celebrity type figures that end up at penitentiaries because they get so much time, like a Sam Bankman or that guy that did the Silk Road, he's in a penitentiary because he got life. How do they hold up in there? These are guys that are not a part of street life, that did not grow up in that environment and get, you know, sentenced there.
As long as they're not a chomo or they did not tell, they're going to be 100% fine. 110% fine. That's the only two things that you're not going to be fined for. Yeah, now if you're in there like being mouthy and thinking you're a tough guy and stuff, but these guys are not going to be those type of caliber, you know? So like I was up there with Tommy Patera, the Karate Kid, one of the captains for the Bonanno crime family, if I say it right. I don't know, but like if you guys look them up, like you'll see like stone cold, like over 62 murders, like, you know, and if you didn't know it, I sat down with him, watch him draw portraits and drink coffee with him every morning. Like just your normal guy, and just ran kind of with the Northeast car, but kind of just ran by himself, just an old guy, like you would never know it, you know what I'm saying? And I was up there with, I never talked to him or met him, but Supreme's at USP McQueary where I was at. 50 Cent's dad or whoever he is, you know. I'm trying to think who else, some guys that came through there. BG, the rapper, came through there, you know, and they guys just walked the yard like normal, and they're in their South black car or whatever. So different USPs have different, like sometimes a USP you'll have a Midwest car, like a white Midwest car. So it'd be like your Iowa, Kansas, Missouri and stuff. Just because Iowa, there's not that many guys going to the pen, and just the smaller states in the Midwest, there's just not that big enough for them to have a car. So it's just unity in numbers is how it is. But Missouri's usually one of the biggest cars around where you go.
Now, those mafia guys that are locked up serving life or a lengthy sentence for murders, do they ever express how they feel about the guys that did the same thing but snitched and are now out on the street, on YouTube, on TikTok, sharing? Because, like, you see some of these mob guys, and I think it's pretty wild, like, that they literally have immunity now. They have multiple bodies on them, and they're out there talking about it freely, and they're blowing up because of that.
So the Tommy guy, when I was there, he's old school, and he was just like, he would talk about it. Like I remember one time the guys were in there talking about Frank Lucas, and he's a big drug dealer and this, and he's like, he's a fucking rat. I don't care what he did or who he didn't do. If he told the police who he told. He's a fucking stool pigeon. I'm like, damn, you guys still say that? He's like, yeah, he's a rat kid. We don't fuck with him. I'm like, all right, bro. And he's just, but they don't really have social media in there. They don't know, like, unless your family tells you, oh, such and such is doing big off of this or doing big off of that. But, like, when the stuff happened in the feds with Whitey Bulger, he was like, he knew before anybody else knew. He's like, yeah, they got Whitey Bulger. And I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like he don't really talk about too many things about, like, normal everyday life, you know? It's just, they don't really talk about that type of stuff. Like, he's still in that mindset of the feds are watching.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're a guy that, you know, was in these hard prisons, federal, like the worst of the worst. Was it weird for you to come out and see this world of people talking about it so openly? And how accurate do you think that information is out there? Because you're a very humble guy. You keep it real. You're keeping it honest about it. Do you think some people kind of twist that narrative?
So, yes, to a big extent, they twist that narrative because they'll talk about like, oh, the USP this or USP that, and I'm like, that's not how it happens. That's not how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you earlier, like I brought my paperwork here with me because it's just what other Fed guys do. Like if you move into a cell with somebody, like even though their cars check their paperwork or they're check, hey, when you move into a cell, like I'm gonna put my paperwork on the table just to let you know. If you want to read my case or read whatever, I'm open to it. But it's all public knowledge. Like so guys will get on this social media things and see this and read that, and that's just like the guy 1090 Jake. Like he'll go, he was on your podcast, and he sets a lot of them out because he's like, no, you weren't really doing this. You weren't really doing that. Or no, that's not what happened. Here's public knowledge that you can read on the internet, and you're saying it happened like this. Yeah, there's 3 sides to every story, but like, come on now. And that's why I tell a lot of people when I go back and like since I've been home, I've been going back speaking to the schools and trying to reach the youth and let them know that lifestyle is not where it's at, man. And that's like the number one thing I stress to them is what you see on TV and what you see in these movies is not real life. Like it's not like that. But I've been through all sides of it, from the state, from a lower level to a max in the state to the feds, to like when I say the worst of the worst, like USP McQueary is like a step-down program. So when you go to the ADX, you go from the ADX, which is the worst of the worst in the feds. You go from the ADX to the SMOOV to USP McQueary Pine Knot, Kentucky. So it's like a disciplinary yard is what it is. And it's wild. It's like unbelievable. And when I get to telling some family members some story and stuff, they're like, really? Like if I didn't live it, I wouldn't believe it.
Now, when you compare gangs versus cars, gangs, we hear the term shot caller, prison gang shot caller, this and that, the heads of that. But a car, we were speaking that they're more of like the speaker of the car, the head of the car. How does one become that head of the car?
So he has to be obviously not like a drug addict, has to have a good head on his shoulders, not hot-headed, because just because you're the speaker don't mean nothing. Like, so say, we'll just use this for an example to make it people understand. Say we got 10 people in the Missouri car. You're the speaker, but all 9 of us have a voice and an input or a vote or something. You're just going to be the one that's going to speak to the other car or speak to whoever else we need to speak to. Or you're the most level-headed. I've seen young guys be speakers. I've seen old guys be speakers. I've seen guys that just showed up to a camp. It all depends on their intellect and their level of knowledge of, hey, are we going to make the right decision for us moving forward? Like, if we have a hothead as a speaker, yeah, let's go to war, we'll worry about it later. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. So when COVID happened, I had on the blue side, I had it for 6 houses. So there's 6, 5, and 4. You couldn't see other houses. You wasn't going outside of other houses, only your house. So I had probably 5 guys in A unit, and I think there was like 5 or 6 of us in B unit. And so like if something happens in A unit, they got to wait till the next day to come tell me, hey, Kit, the Missouri guy and the Minnesota guy got into it. Okay, cool. What was it over? Did he disrespect him? What's he want to do? Oh, he said he just wants to catch a cell. Okay, cool. You guys, like, I understand you guys have to make sure it's okay with me, but you're a grown man. Like, you're in your 30s. Like, you can go fight. It's okay. Just make sure it's one-on-one and nobody else gets involved. No weapons. Okay, cool. That's fine. You guys cool? Yeah, okay. Your eye's black. Your nose is bloody. I've seen it. You guys are good? All right, cool. Go about your business. It happens. Grown men happen all the time, you know. And out in the free world, you don't fight like that. You just go on about your business. But in there, like, that's all you have to do is to squash something. You got to live with the same person in the same unit for years.
Yeah. How often are you seeing a turnover rate from these guys that are like the head speakers of the car?
I think when I got there was only 2 head speakers for the Missouri car. One guy's still there. He still calls me. I still send him pictures, and I still look out for him. Good guy from Kansas City. Probably got another 20 years to do. He's just real level-headed and real calm and collective, and really good guy, man. I took a real good liking. He's like my workout partner, like my everyday hangout with guy, man. And he's drug charges and the Fed system is really based off priors, man. It don't matter if you're a new case, you're based on your priors. And being, like I said, during COVID, bro, it sucked, man. You come out your cell, maybe if you're lucky, if they're not understaffed, maybe 3 days a week for an hour, 2 hours to shower. If that commissary, like, I could show you some of the commissary list, and you'd be like, what? Like, you could order, like, maybe 2 soups, a summer dog, and maybe, like, 1 bag of coffee, 1 bag of creamer, 1 bag of sugar.
That was it for the whole prison?
That's, like, for each inmate for, like, every 2 weeks.
Why?
Just because it's COVID, so they're not.
Oh, this was COVID only.
COVID schedule,
okay.
yeah. Oh, but they just had corporal punishment. They had corporal punishment going on there. So if like you're in the unit and you get caught with hooch, the whole unit goes on commissary restriction for 30 days. You get caught with a knife, whole unit goes on commissary restriction for 30 days.
That's how it was like at the holdover facility before I made it to the feds. At the private facility, they punish everyone.
And then that's where kind of some of the fights were going on too, because like you would have a jackass doing hooch and knowing he keeps getting caught, but we're like a week from making it from commissary, and they're like, man, why couldn't you just wait a week? And then we got to wait another 30 days.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, and it was like a sugarless. There for a while, they tried to make it sugarless commissary.
They got the sugar-free Jolly Ranchers because of the hooch. I remember they were implementing that when I was there. They were starting to phase it out.
Yes, and one of the most, I don't know why I always tell a story about this. It's so gross, bro. So, like, the number one hustle in the feds is tobacco. So them country boys up there would chew. So they would spit in the bottle. Inmate would be like, his job is to clean the area where he's at, and he would get that bottle out of the trash can. He would take it back. You would take the tea bags, open the tea bags. You would, like, put it over a boiling hot water, drain like the tea off the tea in the bag, and then you would take that spit and you would dump it over the tea and dry it out. And then you would take the chunk that he took out of his lip and dry it out. And they would ask you, like, if you're selling cigarettes, they would ask you, do you got the real or the fake? The real is the chew that was out of his lip, and the fake is the stuff you put the spit on the tea.
Oh, wow.
People making thousands of dollars.
How long does it take to make that?
So it's a process, because unless you have a stinger, you got to keep going down to the 190 machine and getting the hot water and going back up. So it could take you up to like 4 or 5 hours.
And what is that netting you? Like, how much items?
Oh, so like it all depends on how much juice, they call it the juice to spit, how much juice you get and how much tobacco you get. So it just varies. But like one little pinner sells for like $10. And it's all free because you're getting it out of the trash can.
Wow.
And then like another guy's hustle, I would love it. Like a guy would get in there and you have your desk. He would scrape his desk with all the paint, and he would sit under there and he would hold a blanket, and he would have like a flat top grill, and he would cook burritos and fried rice and anything you could think of.
That's what people see on TikTok.
Yes.
Those food videos and stuff.
Oh, yes. It's real. Like, and you would go by every day because you don't want to make a bowl meal or something. You can go get 2 burritos for 5 stamps. Like it's 7-Eleven.
Yeah. What was your hustle? What were you doing?
So I worked in the kitchen for a little bit, and I just liked that because I like to eat good. So I could go up there and eat real good food, have onions and vegetables and different stuff, you know. And then I worked in the gym, and I would get everybody else the gym jobs of whatever they wanted, so they'd come pay me for them to get a lawn mowing job or whatever. But I like the gym job because I can be out all day. So it's not worth the money. It's good for the hustle. We had a store. Well, I didn't. Like in my unit, I had another Missouri guy. Hey, I'll put everything up. Just put it in the store in case somebody needs something, or when a new guy comes in, we got stuff or whatever. And then to be honest with you, when I first got there, I kind of fell back into my old ways, and you could get an ID, a K2, bro, for $500, and you selling a square like that for $10-15.
So you were only buying the K2 for $500?
An ID.
Just an ID?
Like your
prison ID?
Yeah.
Wow. And how would you get that?
Other guys, I've seen them get it through mail, books. Yeah. I've seen it.
They crack down on the mail, though.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it's all photocopy now.
They don't crack down on newspapers, though.
But you would need someone to Because it has to come though from the actual News Times, right? Like the return label. I didn't even think about that.
Newspaper.
That's incredible.
Or even a book. You just go into a store
and they tell you which part it is in the magazine or in the book, or.
Well, it would be like in the newspaper. Every picture, you would just get two of the same newspapers, take the front picture off of it, and they would load it behind that picture, and you would glue the other picture on it, and then re-saran wrap it, put that sticker back on it from the New York Times, and send it out in the mail.
Now, still to this day, can they test for K2? Because I know when I was there, they couldn't.
Nope.
Unless
not
it had
that I
like
know
PCP in it, then
Yeah.
they were testing for that.
And then just like where I was at, they just started where you could, Suboxone strips were like $300, and you can make like 1,000 off of them.
People make a ton of money in prison. Now, comparing back to gangs versus cars, do you guys get tattoos when you're in a car?
You don't have to get a tattoo, but like, I mean, you don't, like a lot of people will get the 045 tattoo or just KC tattoo, but you don't have to have a tattoo like symbolize you're in the Missouri car. Like, but 9 out of 10 times somebody from Missouri is going to have a KC or a Chiefs emblem or 045 or something tattooed on them just to know where they're from. But, and like where I was at, bro, like you could just go down to the unit, like me and you would go down there and I'd be like, hey, can I get some tattoo work done? Talk to the CO. He's like, yeah, it's fine. Just if a lieutenant or a sergeant comes around, clean it up for a little bit. He's like, all right, cool. I'm like, hey, can I lock down during count with him and him in my celly switch cells? Yeah, it's cool. It's fine. So I'd go over there and like I got 13 hours done on my chest, bro. And CO just walked by like, damn, that looks good, man. I'll let you guys know if a sergeant's coming around. Just plain as day, don't even care.
Because you're not causing any problems.
Not causing any problems, man.
Yeah.
And they they have a respect level too. Like you came and asked them, hey, can I tattoo in your unit? Even though we live here, this is their job, their unit, they're here. Hey, that's cool, that's fine. All right, whatever.
How often are you seeing the guards get assaulted? And what would be the cause of a prison guard assault?
So I've seen a few in the feds, but it's mostly a big one is a property thing. Like you'll get one of these new COs that come in there and just like, okay, you got to do a cell search, you got a job to do, but there's also like a respectful way to do your job. Like don't come in here and just dump all my pictures out. Don't come in here ripping shit, throwing shit, breaking shit. Like this is all I have is my life in this cell, you know? And them guys with life without don't care, and they'll see it as a ticket out of here. Like they don't want to be at McQueary no more. So, oh, that's cool. Just go and stab the cop and get up out of here. Punch him in his face a couple times, get up out of here. Like McQueary was like, when I say the worst of the worst, bro, like the whole time I was there, they were on a cold sandwich diet for dinner. Like we didn't get, when you were showing that for dinner, like yeah, I hear about all that stuff, but we got sandwiches, 2 pieces of bologna, bread, 2 celery sticks, and a little bag of chips. Or you might get a egg salad sandwich, or you might get a peanut butter and jelly, or like you're getting sandwiches every night for dinner.
Yeah, when I was at the camp, we were next to a medium, so they would call us when I worked in the kitchen to make bag lunch at the medium every time they went on lockdown.
Oh yeah, I ate bologna for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 92 days.
That's nuts. I wonder what the health effects are of that. I mean, we were talking that you had a health incident last year, and you think it might be because of the food, but you're just not getting your nutrients at all. It's crazy.
It sucks.
And then they put how much nutrients you're getting, but that's not true.
No.
Not all those menus are not like people are commenting, oh, you know, that looks great. It's a great menu.
Yeah.
But when you see it, the portions are small. There's no way you're getting that protein.
No. And I seen the comments too, and I'm just like, you guys think this is good? Well, try eating fish every Friday for 5 years.
So, and the fish is so inconsistent. Some is good.
Yeah.
Like some of the fried fish patties. I wouldn't touch it when it was the non-fried fish because they rotated it. They do the baked fish one week, then fried. I would never eat the baked fish. It was gross.
And just like fried chicken, like I'm burnt out on fried chicken, and I love fried chicken.
Yeah.
But it's just like...
I started selling mine.
Yeah.
3 mackerels.
Yeah, you get tired of it. And like you said, like that truck driver special, like, oh, truck driver special is good. No. Not what they were feeding us. A little bit of eggs, 1 biscuit, and a scoop of gravy. Maybe a sausage link if you're lucky. Like, what? That's not a truck driver special.
How are the female guards treated in the penitentiary? Are they respected?
Oh, yeah, mostly for the most part. And, like, that's a big number one thing is, like, I would always ask the guy in my car, like, hey, so, I'm a firm believer in don't put your hands on females and stuff like that, So what do you do if you're seeing another inmate either assault or sexually assault a female guard? He's like, that's a good question. And he's like, you just kind of like, you can't, because then if there's two ways to look at it. Yeah, you're trying to help a female, but then you're also trying to help a cop when you're an inmate. He's like, so just don't partake in it. Get yourself out of the situation and leave. He's like, the guards aren't going to give you a kudos or let you out for helping her, I mean, but you also don't help him out. Like, you can't, it's a catch-22. You can't, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, I know it's hard, kid, because I would love to do it too, but you can't do it. It's just not, there's just some things you have to follow the rules.
Yeah. So what year did you end up getting out, and how much time did you end up serving in total between your state and your federal?
So 2009, I got sentenced to 9 years, drug case, 0%. Did 2 years, got out in 2011 for 13 days, locked right back up October 9th, 2011, all the way till November 1st of 2022. So 13 and a half years almost, besides those 13 days flat.
And so you missed pretty much all your 20s.
I missed all my 20s except for 13 days.
When did you get locked up that first time?
19.
19 years old. So you missed the whole 21st birthday you spent in prison. Wow. Do you ever think about the time you lost?
I do. And I missed some things, like, still to this day. Like, I think my brother Casey's still alive because I didn't get to go see the funeral, I'll pick up the phone sometimes and call, and I'll just, I didn't get to witness those things. I missed a lot of important dates, funerals or weddings or graduations or things like that. Nieces and nephews being born, different stuff, but I wouldn't change it for the world, bro. Like, I'm the man I am today is because I went through that journey, and I feel like I used to always ask myself, like, what is my purpose in life? And now I finally figured it out. Like, God knew I could handle all that. God set me through that journey, bro, because he knew I could witness that, experience that, and get out and let the youth know that, hey, bro, it's not what it's all cracked up to be. That's not what life is for. So, I feel like that's my purpose in life, is to tell the youth that you don't got to sell the drugs to have the nice cars, to go on vacations, to have the nice things. You don't have to sell drugs to be cool, because all those people that you're cool to, you're just because it's beneficial to them. When you get older, I don't talk to nobody from my younger age no more. My wife and my stepdaughter, that's it.
Why do you think that first prison sentence wasn't a deterrent to stay away from any type of criminal behavior or anything that could remotely get you into trouble?
Because I wasn't open-minded to learning. I was young. Everybody, 9 out of 10 people, when they first go to prison, they have the fear of the unknown. Oh, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like this. So they're scared of prison because of that reason. Once they get there, I was doing everything I was doing on the streets except having sexual intercourse every day, bro.
Which is still possible to do.
Yeah, which is still possible, but that's the only thing I wasn't doing. Like, all my guys I was on the streets selling drugs with were there. Everybody was smoking weed. It's easy to get. CD players, working out, food, everything. It's right there. So I didn't take it seriously. I took it as a joke. And then when I got out, I was like, man, I'm smarter than them. I'm smarter than that. Now I'm not going to go back to prison. I can figure it out. Well, the feds got it figured out for you. And that was probably one of the most craziest things ever, is because it was a state case at first. State dropped it. Feds picked it up. And when they say United States of America versus William B. Kitarogers, I'm like, man, what'd I do to the whole USA? I didn't do nothing.
It's intimidating.
And then I'm in court, and I get sentenced, and my mom's like, the judge's like, hey, I hereby sentence you to 144 months in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. My mom's like, you said 12 years, not 144 months. She's so distraught and freaked out. And I'm like, Mom, that's 12 years. She's like, no, he said 144 years. I'm like, no, he didn't. He said 12 years, Mom. It's okay. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. And I came home, and my grandma always told me, I got sentenced in the feds, and she was real sick. And she used to always tell me, be as good as you can with where you're at. And she was real sick, and I got sentenced in the feds. And like a week or two later, I call home. My dad's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, "Nothing, man." He's like, "You cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool." He's like, I'm like, "What's going on, Dad?" You can just tell he's got to say something, but he won't say. He's like, "Man, your grandma passed away." I'm like, "Quit playing." He's like, "No, your grandma passed away. She told me to tell you that she knows you don't have that much time, and you'll still make it home to see the free world again." And I'm just like, it hit me hard. Like, damn, man, like you'll never get to see your grandma again, you know. And when you do all that time, man, a lot of people take life for granted, bro. And it's at the drop of a dime, life can change just like that. You could be top of the world one day, the next day you could be as low as possible.
What's something that prison taught you, or something that you learned in prison that you wouldn't have today without going through that experience?
I would say, it's like you always hear it, but I would say really don't judge a book by its cover. Because just like I told you, I met Tom Patera. Like, yeah, he's killed allegedly over 65 people. But sit down, talking to him, get to know him, he's just an average guy just like you and me, man. I met, like, just sitting down with some of my tattoo artists out there moving kilos and bricks and killing people, and one of the greatest tattoo artists that I think in the world, you know, and just an average guy, bro, just out there doing what he thought he was doing was right, but it wasn't. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. And just like me, a lot of people look at me and they're like, "You did how long in prison? Wow, I could have never told." Like, tattoos are socially acceptable now. Like, selling cars, I averaged 20 cars a month, bro. Like, I didn't always have a good job when I came home, but I worked at Tyson's, a chicken factory. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have always the best job, and I just took a chance on myself and filled out a job on Indeed, and been in the car industry ever since. And I never thought I'd be married. I never thought I would have a family, and that's all I look forward to now is creating memories with my family. Like, the money, all that other stuff, it don't matter, bro. Creating memories with my family that I missed out on.
I think the world's definitely starting to shift, especially now where you have individuals like, say, Trump that are convicted, and celebrities that people idolize getting convicted. It's becoming more normal to have a felony on your record. So those same people that might have said that outcasted someone with a felony before a celebrity that they loved got convicted, it kind of changes things, because they're not going to just stop loving that person because of that, unless it was like something insane,
right,
like a sex offense or a murder or something.
Yeah.
But even then, you still have people that still idolize some serial killers and whatnot. But I don't know if there's been really a celebrity that was turned into a serial killer. It's usually they're a serial killer, and that makes them the celebrity.
Yeah.
But I think the world's starting to change. And when you have shows like this and other platforms and stuff, now I don't even think twice about my felonies, because it hasn't affected me.
Yeah, no, I don't think twice about him either, and I'm always upfront with him and open. And like, even being in the car business, it's always somebody new every day, and talking to him, and we'll go on a test drive and come back, and they'll be like, "Yeah," and I'll be like, they're like, "Hey, so what's your story?" We're waiting on the car to get approved or something, and I'll be like, "Yeah, well, I did 13 years in the feds." Like, quit playing. Well, that's a joke, right? I'm like, "No." He's like, "Man, I would have never known just from talking to you, because you're not, you know," people have they think a certain look when they think of somebody did so much time in prison. Oh, I'm a tough guy. I did this in prison, and tattoos all over the face. And no, like, I'm really respectful and really open-minded, and just want to be a normal person, you know?
Yeah, it's always funny when I'm sitting down somewhere, like whether at a restaurant or getting my hair cut, they ask me what do I do for work, and I say I'm in the podcasting world, and they're like, "Oh, what's it about?" Naturally. And I say it's about people that went to prison, and then they ask questions, and they're like, "How did you get into that?" And then that's when you say, "Oh, well, I was in prison myself," and they look at me like with the baby face and and whatnot, and then they're just like shocked. But that's always a lead up. Some people, it never gets to that. I just say, "Oh, I interview people that that went to prison," very casually, but little did they know that I went to prison. So it's funny, but that's what makes us work, because then it gets guys like you comfortable with talking to me. Because I've been where you've been in some way or another.
Most definitely. Makes it so much easier. Like, I feel like, oh, you're just another guy that came, paperwork's good, you made it through, and hey, we work out together, do some burpees or something, you know? But And that's why I was so big on the youth. And not only did I think it was my calling, but I remember being younger and a guy coming into school and be like, you don't want to go to prison, you don't want to do this, you don't do that. And then you ask him, well, have you ever been? No. How can you tell me not to go to prison, not to go somewhere you've never been? You don't know what it's like. I do. I lived it. I experienced it. So that's why I can tell the youth, and it kind of goes, my grandpa always told me, don't surround yourself with turkeys if you want to soar with the eagles. So it all makes sense. Like, why would if I want to be a drug dealer, I'll surround myself with drug dealers. If I want to be an alcoholic, I'll surround myself with alcoholics. Mm-hmm. It's just not what I want to do.
What do you want to accomplish in the next, say, 5 years? What's your goals?
So I want to have a baby. I want to have me a little kid. I had a goal list wrote out, man, and a few things have changed since I just got into the free world and stuff, but I want to we've kind of talked about maybe a podcast or a YouTube channel or something to reach more of the youth, because even my 6-year-old daughter watches YouTube Kids, and everybody watches social media now, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but I got a few things lined up with the local schools and kind of surrounding areas for juvenile detention centers and stuff, and we go into the county jail every other week and speak to them guys and just let them know, man, if I can change, like, especially in my community, they all knew me, like, oh, that's Kit. Everybody knows Kit. If I can change, anybody can change, So it's just like, it's possible, man. You got to start somewhere. And so you asked 5 years now. Let's see. I think I want to start a platform to get the word out more to the youth, or incarcerated people coming home, because even the older guys coming home now, they're thinking it's not possible to change. Oh, I've lost 10 years. The world owes me this, that. No, it's not. Anything's possible, man. Have a baby, start a platform, and I think just create more memories with my family, man. That's it. That's what life's all about for me now, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're very chill, Kit.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, man, I just like riding my Harley with my wife, or like, it's so cool because I got my 6-year-old stepdaughter. I get to be a big kid still, because I left when I was 19, so I'm still a kid mentally, I still get to be a big kid with her. I'll tell her mom all day, well, I guess Lexi wants to go to the arcade. I'm going to take her to the arcade. Really, I want to go to the arcade. I'm just dragging Lexi along. You know what I'm saying? So it's fun, man. I just get to do stuff that I didn't get to do as a kid with my parents.
That's awesome. Well, Kit, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, man, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for traveling out from Missouri to come to little Danbury, Connecticut. And, enjoy the rest of the time in your city, and safe travels back.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Go Chiefs.
You're going to piss some people off with that one.